Hello, lovely to meet you. I'm so glad you liked my status, because honestly, I clicked on your Facebook and I saw your photos, and whoa. I'm wondering if you're free tomorrow to meet up. I'm single and I'd like to get to know you. Bad boy with a good heart, that's my motto.
Next, this lunchtime concern is growing for the welfare of a teenager from Dorset. 19-year-old Gaia Pope was last seen on Tuesday. Her family don't think she has...
I first heard Gaia's story on the news. What struck me was how isolated and remote this place is. Can't understand why she came here. Mystery still surrounds what happened to Gaia.
Hundreds of residents have joined police and the Coast Guard to look for the 19-year-old.
It's almost exactly a week since Gaia Pope was last seen in this neighbourhood.
There were some rumours that she had got taken.
Her clothes were just kind of like sprinkled. Her knickers, her underwear, it made my stomach churn.
Detectives investigating the disappearance of Gaia Pope have now launched a murder inquiry.
Did Dorset Police do as much as they could have done? Probably not.
What drove Gaia to that cliff top? What was she running from? Who was she running from?
There was one boy, he had messaged her on Facebook.
We knew what he was like.
It gets more and more and more extreme.
You can see a change in her. Something has left her feeling desperate.
With only a couple of clicks on social media, she could have never expected the danger there was to come.
Hope you're ready for a naughty show, you piece of...
Police inquiries, can I help you?
I've been advised by Crisis Line to call the emergency.
So who is it regarding?
Gaia. Gaia.
Okay, let me have a description.
She's 19 and she's got long, mousy blonde hair. She's wearing greyish leggings and white pumps. You know, she's vulnerable.
Yeah.
She needs help.
Police inquiries, can I help you?
I've already spoken to you. I haven't heard anything. I've just this minute come up because I've been out looking for her. I don't know what to do with her.
Right, you're just going to have to slow down.
She's gone off. She's run out of the house. I've knocked on doors. I've done all sorts of things. I don't know where she is. I need some help.
I remember the day that I first heard about Gaia and her disappearance. I remember seeing her photo. Her and I were literally the same age, so when I saw that, I think I just really connected with that story, and there's always been questions in my mind ever since seeing that. Gaia lived in a tiny village on the edge of Swanage. Her body was discovered just 2 miles from the family home.
Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
How are
lovely.
you?
And here we have Nala with her
hello.
greeting.
Hi.
I think the cushion's for you.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
it.
Can I
She's
have
always
it?
Got to have a gift.
She's really, really sweet. How are you?
It is very hard on a day-to-day basis. There are lots of questions that need to be answered because nothing's been resolved. She leaves such a huge gap. She was so dynamic, so funny.
Gaia was one of 3 sisters. Older sister Clara and identical twin Maya.
Hey! Maya! Get off!
How old were you in this picture?
About 8 or 9. So I'm in the bottom left, and there's Gaia bang in the middle.
And what was Gaia like?
She was quite confident. I saw Gaia as this beautiful princess, and the bond is not like any other. Identical twins.
There are twins in Swanage, but we were sort of known as the twins. When we were teenagers, Guy was diagnosed with epilepsy and I had autism. So growing up, Guy was really helpful to me.
Before she went missing, I remember being at the bus stop. I'd been on the phone to Gaia. She sounded terrified. I told her, "We will keep you safe." But that was the last phone call I had with my twin sister. Every time I comb my hair and I look in the mirror, I can see the resemblance. So I just keep my hair short. I don't understand how this has happened to my sister.
It's been 5 years since Gaia disappeared. Her body was eventually found here, 11 days after she went missing. It's part of the Dorset coast, known to locals as Dancing Ledge. I think you can see it on the news as much as you like, but when you're actually here in this landscape and thinking of a 19-year-old running through these fields in the middle of winter, I wouldn't want to be out here on my own. Why here? Why was she running? And what was she running from?
Dorset Police. Hello? She's still lost. She's still lost. I don't know where she is.
Right. Any money on her or phone?
She's got no phone.
Does she need any medical attention or medication?
She does. For epilepsy, she really needs, support. She needs help.
I told her, "You are safe. We will keep you safe. And if you need to run anywhere, you should go somewhere where you are safe."
Short days in November, not enough daylight to find her. It was dark, it was cold, but could hear helicopters out there looking for her. It made me think they've got to find her, surely they have. Go find my girl.
I woke up the next morning really early, and when she hadn't come home, for me that was like, something must be really seriously wrong.
It was out of character for Gaia just to go off like that. Being epileptic and having no medication with her wasn't good. I was thinking all kinds of things, wondering what could have happened.
I knew that she would never leave us questioning and worrying like this on purpose. All I could think was we needed to raise awareness, get flyers distributed in every shop window, every business.
I mean, immediately setting up a Facebook group, getting the word out there, explaining what had happened, explaining what she looked like, explaining her epilepsy, ensuring that if people came across her or came across anything that they would know as much detail as possible.
Swanage really reminds me of the place where I grew up. It's a small town where everyone knows everyone. I can't imagine what impact Gaia's disappearance must have had on the community, or the other teenagers who'd always see her around town. What was the reaction like within the community when Gaia went missing?
For us in Swanage, like, everyone's quite tight-knit. It's a bit shocking because you don't really get stuff like that down here. How she gone missing, why she gone missing. They were warning us at school, don't wander off by yourself, stay in groups when you walk home, just in case.
I think most of us were quite nervous just because no one really knew why she went missing, so no one really knew what had happened, whether she had left or what had happened. I think parents got quite paranoid as well about letting their kids out at certain times.
What were the rumours that were going around the community at the time about what could have happened to Gaia?
There were some rumours that she had got taken.
A lot of the community believe that she was murdered.
If I'm going to understand what happened to Gaia, I need to know more about who she was and what it would have been like to grow up here. Hi, Dom.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Dom was one of Gaia's closest friends. So tell me a bit about Swanage.
Swanage is right down on the south coast. It's a beautiful place to live. Right out in the middle of nowhere, quite tucked away and hidden. One road in, one road out. Over there is Bournemouth, but if you don't travel as far, you'll get to Sandbanks, which is a very rich, quite a posh area. Lots of very nice, swanky houses. I feel like Swanage is the kind of weird cousin that no one really wants to talk to or hang out with.
What was it like for you and Gaia living here in Swanage?
I think at times it was a little bit frustrating because we're both quite extrovert. We did definitely get a little bit of cabin fever living here sometimes, but when we went to Brockenhurst College, it was like sort of escapism. It's like nothing like I'm used to.
When we were all finishing at secondary school, me, Maya and Gaia, we liked the idea of the freedom that college brought, and we'd have conversations about just breaking free to Brockenhurst College.
We were really excited to go to college because we thought we're going to leave Swanage behind.
When I met Gaia, we were just sat out at break and somebody was playing some music and she started dancing along with me. And I just thought she was a little bit wild, but it was so lovely.
As soon as she walks into the room, she would just light the place up. She had the most gorgeous smile and a very contagious laugh. That time was really exciting for dating, friends. We were just in the full swing of it, you know?
In the first year of college, I think she absolutely was loving life, meeting all these new people. Like, instantly, she made a lot of friends.
She liked to sort of dabble in like makeup, bright colours. She sort of stood out in quite a good way. She was just like this sort of vision amongst, you know, sort of baggy jumpers and baggy jeans and tired eyes. And she was just there like, wow, you know?
Nathan was a really big part of the group as well.
A childhood friend of Gaia and Maya's. They were clearly very, very close.
Nathan and Gaia were quite flamboyant in their personalities, so it worked very well together.
Everyone was obsessed with Gaia. She was like the toast of the smoking area.
Concern is growing for the welfare of a teenager from Dorset. 19-year-old Gaia Pope, who has severe epilepsy, was last seen on Tuesday.
We were all getting really worried. It really started to set in that something was seriously wrong.
We were just desperately trying to brainstorm and think about places she could be.
We were desperate to find Gaia. I want my sister home.
I was frightened of finding her if I did go somewhere. Frightened of finding her lifeless. It was horrifying.
I wanted to be out there just running around the fields in the dark all night. And I really had to talk myself into, you know, that's pointless, that's stupid. You need to be smart and stay calm and not panic. So I stuck these Post-its on my mum's front door, and it just said, Gaia, we love you. The door's open. It's warm in here. Just come in.
One of the strangest things about Gaia's disappearance is that days into her being missing, still no one knows anything. Swanage is such a tiny community. You know, everyone knows everyone's faces, so it's strange to think that Gaia just vanished into thin air.
Dorset police today released CCTV images of Gaia Pope, taken less than an hour before the last confirmed sighting of her.
That was a very scary moment because you could tell that she was very distressed. I was so scared for her.
I could see the look on my sister's face. She was terrified, like she was trying to hold everything together, like she was panicking.
Police have now issued CCTV footage which is believed to show Gaia shortly before she disappeared. Officers have already carried out a large number of inquiries.
Local journalist Steve Humphrey was following the Gaia story from the start.
We discovered that after leaving Gaia Road, this road here, she'd then been captured on CCTV running up the hill in Morrison Road. And that's why we went to this area in the hope of actually talking to people who might have seen her. And while we were there, just by chance, we bumped into a lady who was walking down the road, who said to us that she was the last person to have seen Gaia Pope.
There was bang, bang, bang on the door. The sort of, help me, bang. Bang, bang, help. Pounding. And I said, what are you doing? Gaia, come in. Just come in.
Do you know what the matter was?
No.
Didn't tell
No.
you.
She's just upset, very upset.
And she spent about how long with you?
About 20 minutes.
And then left?
Yes. I have no idea where she is. She just seems to have disappeared.
Police had been told that Gaia had been to Rosemary's house, but no one knew why. At the time when you saw This lady walking down the street, you had no idea who it was.
No. And then, of course, that was the beginning of what turned into, a major development in the story.
The woman he was speaking to turned out to be Rosemary Dinch, the grandmother of Gaia's childhood and college friend, Nathan.
My son Nathan became best friends with Gaia and Maya. They were noisy, and of course they were all such huge characters.
Maya, normally, how did you break your leg? How are you right?
We were quite naughty and we were kind of obsessed with pranks. So we would play pranks on my sisters.
Any good, Gaia? Good?
Debbie was a single mum, and I was a single parent. So we found solace and comfort together. The children would play with their camcorder, and I think they shared a common mischievousness.
Okay, guys, you see this? This is a live remote. When I press pause, the whole world stops. Anyway, pause.
Detectives investigating the disappearance of Dorset teenager Gaia Pope have now launched a murder inquiry.
Her disappearance is completely out of character, and we sadly now believe that she may have come to harm.
71-year-old Rosemary Dinch and Rosemary's grandson, reported to be 19-year-old Nathan Elsey, was also arrested on suspicion of murder.
We were sat down in the kitchen and a police officer came in and told us that Nathan Elsey had been arrested and that they thought it might be murder. And I remember feeling sick to my stomach. Maya had been really struggling, and I remember having to tell her that one of her closest childhood friends had potentially murdered our sister.
I just remember seeing a picture of my best friend getting into the back of a police car. I felt like my whole world was crumbling.
I got a phone call and he said, my son Nathan and Mum have been arrested. My mother was 71 at the time, and they arrested her for murder and kidnap. Nathan was 19 and arrested for suspicion of murder.
Sorry. Total disbelief. Can't be so.
How could we have been so wrong about them? My heart dropped. I mean, I knew that Nathan would never do anything like that.
I couldn't really make it make any sense in my mind. I'd always seen him as one of Gaia's closest friends from childhood.
We've seen forensic officers going in and out in white suits. We've seen sniffer dogs. A major incident vehicle turned up a short time ago.
I started thinking, have they found a body?
The police seemed very confident that Nathan and his grandmother were involved. But why? I've been given an independent report into Dorset Police's investigation by someone who wants to remain anonymous. I'm just trying to fill in some of the gaps. I mean, what's really clear is the fact that Gaia was looking for Nathan. She actually went to his grandmother Rosemary's house where Nathan often stayed. A neighbour actually told the police that she heard the sound of a young woman screaming from Nathan's grandmother's flat. Someone being distraught, screaming, very hysterical. You can understand that this could be seen as quite suspicious. And as soon as he was arrested, the forensic team moved in. They removed sink traps from the kitchen and the bathroom in search of any DNA evidence like blood or hair. They even cut away part of his mattress because they said that it was blood-stained. So then Nathan was stripped and searched. This is a transcript from one of Nathan's police interviews. The police asked, why would Gaia go looking for you at your grandmother's house? And essentially, Nathan just says he has no idea. So I've just been reading Rosemary Dinch's statement, who is Nathan's grandmother. It says in the statement, Gaia said she'd come to see Nathan. Gaia started to become a bit frantic and started shouting. Gaia said she was pregnant with Nathan's baby. And then she leaves. And she's never seen again. The police then put this to Nathan. Why did Gaia say that she was pregnant with your child? And he says, I've had no contact for the past 13 months. There was never a sexual relationship, never boyfriend and girlfriend, never kissed. So there's two very different stories here. And something really isn't adding up.
Okay, everybody ready? I can tell you that today, a member of the public has identified clothing south of Priestley Road in Swanage that we believe was worn by Gaia.
So there's still a chance that Gaia is alive?
I'm not going to speculate. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate your time.
I managed to track down one of those walkers who originally found Gaia's clothes. Her name is Sally.
This is where we walked, like just me and my grandpa.
We're retracing her steps on Dancing Ledge.
Literally, it was like just here. Her clothes were just kind of like sprinkled down here, so it was her knickers first, her underwear, which we walked past and thought, oh, that's really weird, you know. Yeah. But then we saw like trousers, shirt, shoes, and then it just kind of dawned on us that like that's very abnormal.
What was your grandfather's reaction when he saw the clothing?
As soon as I said, do you think it's that girl that uses underwear, he was very serious about it and like very quick to react and be like, we need to call the police and we need to do it now. When it kind of hit me that there was more clothing and something else was going on, it did make me feel like really yucky. It made my stomach churn. What was going through my head was like, someone's been, that's where my head went, which is quite dark, I know, but.
No, but if you've seen women's underwear on the floor, and then you're seeing her clothing scattered, what else are you gonna think? This place is so vast. The terrain is quite rough. First of all, I mean, Gaia ran a huge distance.
Yeah, it's not like she could just run straight through a field here. Like, there's all these stone walls, there's blackberry bushes. You really would have to be kind of running from something to kind of flee this way.
I had to see a picture of her trainer before I believed it. I thought, no, it couldn't be her, that it was somebody else's clothes. It was only when I saw her trainer that I was like, okay, yeah, that's hers.
This morning, the police are scouring the cliff tops here, and her family and her friends remain hopeful that Gaia can still be found alive.
We will not stop until we find Gaia Pope.
Can you tell us that a 71-year-old woman and a 19-year-old male?
I can. They've been released under investigation, and that investigation continues, along with a number of other avenues of investigation that we will explore.
I remember when we said, oh, well, do you have anything? The police just sort of said, well, we can't tell you what's going on with the investigation. And as soon as they said that, I was thinking they've got nothing.
Just days later, both Nathan and his grandmother were cleared of any involvement in Gaia's disappearance.
That accusation will always be there. Nathan had messages saying that I hope you go to prison for the rest of your life. He wasn't safe going anywhere on his own. My mum, they broke her spirit to shame somebody so publicly at the age of 71. She didn't recover from that.
They came in their hundreds, refusing to give up hope. Some were local, most don't even know Gaia Pope or her family, but they were all here to help.
We're going to try and do line searches, so as many people have as many eyes on the ground as we can.
There's so many wonderful people that really went out of their way to come and join us and to search for Gaia.
It was a grassroots miracle. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. And it was the only thing that kept us going.
And we kept going out and searching and searching and searching. Nothing else mattered at this point.
During the search for Gaia, I had a dream, and it was the most vivid dream I've probably ever had in my life. In my dream, it was like some beautiful field, but with like a wall and some ruins or something. And it also flashed me a picture of rocks. She came to me and she hugged me and she said, I love you, I have to go. She walked away and I said, I don't want you to go, and she said, no, but I have to.
The search for Gaia Pope has been going on for 11 days, but that search has come to an end.
I got a call that I needed to go back to my aunt's house and there was an update. We were sat cramped into this living room. Everyone was there. My dad's side of the family, my mum's side of the family. To hear my dad sit down and say that our little bird has flown. And it was like time stopped for a moment.
The body of a young woman has been found, and they were confident it was that of Gaia Pope.
I was catatonic, in a state of shock. She was my best friend, the light of my life.
Everything crashed around me. I'd lost my identical twin sister. I was totally alone.
It was the worst memory of my life.
There has been a great deal of sadness in this seaside town since it was announced that the body of Gaia Pope had been found.
I don't think anyone expects to lose a friend when you're just a teenager. It was hard.
Although the search is at an end, the questions only increase about just what happened to the Dorset teenager. Steve, how would you assess the mood of the community this evening?
Sally, a real sense of sadness and plenty of tears here in Swanage since Gaia Pope's body was discovered on Saturday. Her family say there are still plenty of unanswered questions.
I was thinking all kinds of things, wondering what could have happened. Was she put there? Did she take herself up there? And if so, why wasn't she found?
I was convinced that Gaia did not die of suicide. I just knew it had to be something else.
Thank you. News journalist Caterina Vitozzi had been sent to Swanage to cover the story. What exactly was her cause of death?
The pathology report told us that Gaia had died from hypothermia. It was surprising and it was shocking, and it was also, you know, deeply sad to think that this was a young girl who had died in a way which was so exposing and so vulnerable. And to think of her being in that place and dying in that way, it was really horrific. The pathology report explained how when someone is affected by hypothermia, they can often feel hot. And so a response to that can be people will try and take their clothes off. And the sequence of how Gaia's clothes were found suggested that she had undressed herself in an attempt to cool her body down, where in fact what she needed to do was warm up.
So once the cause of death was established, where did that leave you?
In some respects, it actually left us in a more confusing place, because then there becomes this mystery of, well, what drove Gaia to that cliff top to die in that truly horrific way? What was she running from? Who was she running from? We just didn't know.
I'm beginning to think that the fields at Dancing Ledge don't hold the full story of what happened to Gaia. To find out the truth, I'm going to need to go further back into Gaia's past and the months and years before she died.
I think the best way that I can get to know her is probably through her Instagram. This is in 2014, so she would have been, 15. It's so clear that she was a normal girl. She had a lot of friends. She had fun. But none of this makes any sense. You really write poetry on your head when you're walking away from someone that stinks like Donald Trump's body waste and is disturbing your breakfast/social media addiction. The caption is, mental illness caused by other people is a thing. To her, this obviously makes sense to post this. But to most people reading this, it doesn't make any sense at all. It just shows what was going on in her mind around that time. I'm walking around with the sweaty palms and a cold body. I don't know, she's talking in code. I don't really understand that at all. But it's really eerie that this is her last post. Incredibly eerie. It feels to me like she wants to be heard about something. You can see a change in her. Something's happened here along the way. Something has shaken her up. Something has left her feeling desperate, and I want to know what that is.
Gaia, you know, she had boyfriends, she was very popular.
Gaia had a few boyfriends. She attracted quite a genuine type of person, which, I mean, would be nice, you know.
I'm sure there were people who probably did have massive crushes on Gaia. But I think she had her own romantic life outside of college.
There was one boy, he had messaged her on Facebook.
You know, Gaia was a friendly person and she would make friends with people.
He said that he was suffering from learning difficulties and that he was having a really hard time making friends.
I can remember that Gaia was texting him quite a lot, but she wouldn't really tell me too much. The details were quite sort of vague.
I mean, I was a little bit concerned because it was somebody that had reached out over Facebook and I was like, be careful, you know.
When she mentioned his name, I'd actually heard of him before. He was quite a well-known name by a lot of girls around our age.
He had quite a reputation around Bournemouth and Poole. A reputation of being a bit pushy and forward.
So I've been doing a bit of digging into that first contact between Gaia and Connor Hayes. And I found out that Connor Hayes first contacted Gaia when she was 16 and he was 21. I've received a message from a young woman who wants to remain anonymous, and it's a voice message from Connor Hayes.
Hello, lovely to meet you. I'm so glad you liked my status, because honestly, I clicked on your Facebook and I saw your photos, and whoa. I'm wondering if you're free tomorrow to meet up. Got my own little business, which I'm going to tell you about when I meet you. Bad boy with a good heart, that's my motto.
Knowing what I know now, there's a lot of pressure in that message. It's forward, it's a bit creepy, but I do think that to a young girl, that's a confident young man who has got a lot of charisma, and he sounds like he's quite serious. A message like that would be quite enticing.
With only a couple of clicks on social media, she could have never expected the danger there was to come.
Something had happened. She felt violated, but she didn't tell me because she wanted to protect me.
Gaia was afraid of him. She was terrified.
Hope you're ready for a naughty show, you piece of shit.